Will a new rule allow any member of the House of Representatives to request the removal of the Speaker? The answer is sort of. Let's get into it, shall we? I've read a lot of comments over the last few days about one of McCarthy's concessions, specifically that would change House rules that are currently in place and would allow any House member to initiate a process that might eventually remove the Speaker of the House from his or her position. Now, that it is true, such a concession has apparently been made by McCarthy. Now, this process is called a motion to vacate, and it's been in place for 200 years. It was originally included in a manual written by Jefferson that outlined Congress rules, and it's today known as the Jefferson Book. It was written at the end of the 1700s and then adopted by Congress about 40 years later, because the Constitution really doesn't give us any specific rules on how Congress should organize itself. To be precise, this rule has to do with an introduction of a motion, or it's basically a request that one or more members of the House, in this case, bring to the floor. It's then brought to a vote. If the majority of the people vote yay, then the motion passes. And if the motion is about vacating the chair, then the Speaker no longer has a job. So what's so special about this particular rule, the motion to vacate, that will be included in the House rule package for the 118th Congress? Under this new rule, any single member of the House of Representatives would be able to raise a motion to vacate and force an immediate vote. That's what's called a privileged motion. However, under the previous House rules, the ones that just expired, you actually needed a majority of the votes in order to force a vote itself, which obviously made the chair a position that was a lot more secure. Now, that particular rule that required the majority vote in order to get a majority vote was implemented by Nancy Pelosi during the 116th Congress. However, the truth is that in the history of our country, the normal rule in order to raise a motion to vacate has always been what they're rumoring it will change to, so a single member can raise the motion. Is that going to create chaos? Well, that's possible. Anything is possible. But let's remember that even under the previous rule that allowed a single member to raise the motion, that rule was applied only twice, 1910 and 2015, when they tried to oust Boehner, who eventually resigned from his position. And that motion was promoted by, you guessed it, the Freedom Caucus. There are pros and cons to both rules. The security of the chair is based primarily on how McCarthy will wield the gavel over the next couple of years. But one thing is sure, if this rule passes, we're just going to go back to a rule that's been in existence for the vast majority of our country. I hope this helps.